collection, The Good Arabs, which will be coming out in September with Metonymy Press, not to be confused. And then I'm going to finish off with another poem from Not Body. Dear friends, lovers, and in-betweens, I forget to take my probiotics for a few days, and my shit get a little runnier. The things going on in my stomach are hard to explain. I'm not a scientist. I just listen to whoever sounds the most convincing. My last roommate told me 50 billion live cultures is where it's at. I take his advice, keep it in my back pocket for years. Every time someone asks about probiotics, I say, 50 billion is where it's at. My tape recorder mouth rewinding for the next time someone asks me. Be confident, and you can be convincing. My aunt takes her health into her own hands. She starts asking her doctor to prescribe her meds for her brain, for the pain, for her stomach, for anything she thinks might not be working. She becomes a pharmacist in her own right. When my sister starts having stomach aches, she tells her, "Take this," and my mom obliges. The skeptic in me rises, and a quick Google search shows it's more dangerous than it leads on. I tell my aunt, "You're not a pharmacist," and feel shitty while saying it. She crawls into the ball she always goes into when she's being shamed. "You hurt me," she says, and I can almost see a bruise forming on her arm. I forget to research the new medicine prescribed to me. I forget to remember its name. I say, "I don't care. I can finally sleep." The skeptic in me has been sedated. I'm too exhausted to invest in the research. The sleep deepens. I go into a better state of rest. The grump moves on to bigger and better things. I can once again abuse my body to its limits because capitalism isn't going to let me stop, especially now that I can stay awake. Watch me serving coffee again, my legs ready to fall off. XOXO, Eli. All right, so this next poem is called This Is Not a Poem. In this new poem, there are no words. You might think there are words in this poem because you're reading the words you think you see, but I promise you there are no words at all, no phrases, not one sentence. There isn't an image of forgetting. Grab your wallet when you leave the house, or when you feel absurd for trying to tell your mother that you are poly. She says, "Does your partner know?" Imagine you cheating on your partner and then telling your mother casually, inspecting your fingernails for dirt, gorging on the everything of your desires. So maybe this is not a poem after all, not the confessional you might have expected. The fat around the pork makes its way through the small spaces between your teeth as you continue to suck and chew. It is tasty. It is not a poem, but an indulgence. You are working on turning the pork into small enough pieces so that it can make its way successfully through you to be made into shit and get on its way out. But the fattiness of the pork is your most basic pleasure in this mouth. So you don't open your mouth or say any words. And like this poem, not poem, your mouth is not a poetic installation, but the chewing is decadence. You have always been a slow eater, and you sit at the table as your parents become impatient, your sister leaving the table first, then your mother, then with a sigh, your father. Do not leave before you finish everything on your plate. But you don't want the broccoli, only the fat of the pork, and you are stubborn, and so you sit, moving food around, not in a poem, but at a table in the kitchen, and pick at the broccoli and chew slowly, until he says, "Get up and you brush your teeth and go to bed." In poems, there's often this moment of reveal, but in this, nothing is revealed. Not a poem, nor a moment of sinking into your chair. Those moments are left out with the shit and the pork, unlike the ones filled with fat and leaking over the edge. You say, "Not this time," and hold it all in. Until overfilled, you push it all out. And when she asks why you always have stomach aches, you shrug and answer her, This is not a poem. I didn't realize how many stomach poems I had chosen. So this next one is called Don't Let Me Be Lonely, and it's after Claudia Rankine's book. She said, "Don't let me be lonely." And I said, "Lonely? Okay." Her meaning I meaningfully obscure. She's probably smarter than me. It's hard to admit as a Virgo. I can't tell if you hear what I'm saying. The absence is essentially forgotten. The only thing on my mind is fuck Israel. The only thing I put out into the world is don't talk to me. The only thing I reach for is your hand. If only I had $1 for every time I hear someone say Arab. I would not have many dollars because I don't have TV. I don't live in the States. I don't do many drugs. I did cocaine once. Does that count? Those silly people don't know anything about anything. I am silly and don't know anything about anything. If we compare ourselves to those loved by many, we will always get hate on Twitter. Don't give your opinion too loudly. Don't tell them that they're wrong. Cancel culture doesn't exist for the privileged. We weigh in on matters far away. Keep your 6 meters apart from me. You might not be able to see it, but the only part of my nose that I love is the part that's bigger than yours. Okay, so this is the last poem I'm going to read from The Good Arabs, and then I'll go back to Not Body. It's called Mas Alama. With age, we become more intimate, something that makes us both sweat. If only we could speak more plainly. Instead, we sweat and we sweat. The past becomes the present when we speak it into existence. My khalo tells me about the first time he came to Canada, sweaty in the way I inherit, nervous in the way I also inherit. He took a boat and then a plane dripping with sweat. Sitting beside an Egyptian man, mouth hard with G. My khalo is kind but distracted. Through the conversation, gives him some lightness, a little bit of sweetness lingering in the man's mouth after they share chocolate. He looks my uncle up and down, and khalo takes a gulp, his body vibrating with a new kind of nervous sweat. At the security checkpoint, his armpit stains so wet the t-shirt looks 3 times as dark. Through his gray shirt, he sweats and he sweats. Staring at the tall back in front of him, he joins one of the lines, praying, Allah yisa'adni. When he looks up finally, he sees a familiar face smiling at him, drying the sweat. Ahlan, the Egyptian man says, and my khalo passes him his passport. Barely looking at it, the man passes it back, my khalo replying with a hurried sweet of shukrans with the most thanks he's ever felt. Ma'as salama, waves the man. Ma'as salama, says my uncle, his passport and palms dripping with sweat. All right. So I'm going to read my last poem. And I want to thank Ashley from Metatron for having me and Anteism for this. Hopefully I said that right. I think so. So yeah, I'm just going to read my last poem and then on to many other great readers today. Dear friends, lovers, and in-betweens. The resemblance is uncanny. Are you two related? It's just something in your dark eyes, the way you both stare. Endlessly, you're asked about your relationship, what you are to each other and what you aren't. Shame to be an in-between. The ways you can't quite articulate your proximity, your distance, the bits that feel just right. You anticipate more questions, but they never come, because there's something so alienating about the two of you together. People don't like what they can't understand. In the 80s, my mother traveled far away from home, and because she did well in English classes, she felt ready for this new adventure. But a new world is never like an old world. every intonation different, every gesture of approval or disapproval switched. The pain showed up in her arm years later, and she didn't quite understand the connection, but I told her it was there. Or is she onto something? Maybe nothing makes sense. I'm trying to fabricate meaning from nothing. I try to piece together pain and cause as though it could ever lead me to cure. When I feel less pain, it is always a relief. When I feel less depressed, I can almost bounce off the wall. It is midnight, but I still want to hang out. I text a few people, tell them it's not a booty call, I promise. We head out, climb Mount Royal, and sit around talking until the sun rises. I take several drops of CBD and lean deep into the green grass. Oh wait, had I said it was winter? Okay, wait, actually, we're in my bed again, and I take several drops of CBD and lean in deep into my cushion-topped bed. You smoke a bit outside my room because I hate the smell of it, and we joke about nothing. When you're ready to sleep and we turn off the lights, I keep talking, and you laugh and tell me to shut up. But of course you're on board, and we laugh until sunrise, getting out of bed to watch it, each with a blanket over us, like little body tents. The irony is that this has never happened, drifting between awake and a dream, but a poem might will it into existence. I'll paint a beautiful scene, watch it gleam and shine, present the perfect sentence, and everything might be all right. It's like trying to get out of bed. If I visualize it enough, one day it'll happen. I'm getting out of bed. I'm getting out of bed. I'm getting out of bed. I pick my head up. I'm getting out of bed. I'm getting out of bed. I'm getting out of bed. I elevate my torso. I am getting out of bed. I'm getting out of bed. I'm getting out of bed. I swivel my legs off the bed. I'm getting out of bed. I am getting out of bed. I am getting out of bed. I am sitting up straight. I'm getting out of bed. I am getting out of bed. I am getting out of bed. I get up. XOXO, Eli. Thanks everyone for listening, and thanks for having me.